Take me. Come on, Leela. Whatever you want, babe. I'm willing to give you all of me. I'm willing. Want to be close to you, wrapped in your arms and listening. I give you everything. Oh, my heart, my love is all you ever need. My heart is all you ever need. Take Me by Leela James. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Keith K.L. Belvin here, crisis specialist, author, and educator. Oh my gosh. Take me. My love is all you will ever need. Woo! Listen, guys, listen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I got a lot to talk about this morning. First of all, I hope you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend and everything of that nature. I almost forgot today was Tuesday. I forgot today is Monday. I almost thought today was Monday. Forgot it was Tuesday. Hope that you had a great weekend, 3-day, 4-day weekend, whatever it was for you. And again, I pray everything is well. I'm gonna ask the question in a second. I'm gonna give me a second. Let me see if I can bring that up. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna get into, I wanna explain some things here. There we go. All right, here we go. Well, first and foremost, before we get started, let's bring up the sponsors. Let's have that conversation. Shout out to Ethel and Annie Mae's Soul Food, 497 Albany Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, in the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. Shout out to Chef Danielle. BK Chef Danielle on Instagram, Ethel and Annie Mae, Soul Food on Instagram, on Facebook. She is Danielle Chef Moore. Make sure you check her out. Make sure you show the videos. I've been sharing them on my page because if the food has to look good first. Let's keep it very real. Food has to look good. So if you look at what she's presenting, her presentation is on point. And I can tell you that the food is on point. I can tell you that the service is on point. And I can tell you that her location and the way she runs it and how clean it is on point. And when you have that combination, you have to support that. Now, to all my Brooklyn, Queens folks, she is on Grubhub and Uber Eats. So what's the excuse? To my folks who don't live in New York, she is vacuuming, sealing meals and sending them off. Yes, she mailed out oxtails and rice and peas to Fresno, California. And the young lady, shout out to Kim Long, who received them was like, yes, it was working. So they rocking to California with what she's cooking in Brooklyn. Something to think about. No excuses. Go by Ethel and Annie Mae's soulfoodkitchen.com, I believe it is. Check out the website, check out the menu, or just hit Danielle straight up and say, hey, what are you sending? What are you mailing? And go from there. I actually got to check her out myself. So please check out Chef Danielle at 497 Albany Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, in the Crown Heights section. Make sure you let her know that Brother KL sent you, okay? All right, so I want to move on a second. Hold on, let me just take this out here. Okay. Also, to my authors who pay attention, you know, I'm a 5-time published author, award-winning author, by the way. But here's the thing. You can stay in a narrow bubble if you want. And then sometimes you have to make the decision that you need to learn more if you're going to make more money. Well, that's actually what I did. Shout out to Tarkessa Colvin. And Tarkessa is the author of like 19 books, and God knows how many people she helped with theirs. But more importantly, she has systems. And I wanted those systems. So I pay a monthly fee. Yeah, I pay a monthly fee to be able to learn her systems, but more importantly, to be connected to the person that created the systems. And I can honestly tell you in a short time, she has reworked my vision where now I can see the avenues that my book can actually go and the money that I can make. I still got to put the work in. But when you get what you paid for, that's a beautiful thing. And to be a part of the community, let me just show you what that is. Okay, here it is right here. I forgot to bring up the picture for you. And the AMP community, AMP, and AMP stands for Amplified Marketing Profits. Amplified Marketing and Profits, AMP. In the AMP community, Tarkessa walks you through systems pre-writing, during your writing, after your writing, to be able to create the avenue that you need for your book to make money. She actually has a $250,000 plan that you may go, my book ain't making a $250,000. Hold on a second. I thought the same thing until I sat down, and she breaks it down. And when she shows you that a $250,000 is possible, not only is it possible, I can see it happening. And you have to make certain decisions for your book, but there's multiple ways to get to that $250,000. And the crazy part is when I first heard it and I started to see it, I was kind of like, I don't know. Now I am restructuring what I'm doing, because not only is it paying off, it is something that I believe is sustainable. Because it's one thing to make a lot of money fast and then don't make it any longer. It's another thing to make money and actually have, good morning, Brother Curtis, actually have a way to sustain it. And so make sure you check out AMP. If you want more information or you want the link to the community, hit me up in my inbox and I will gladly send you the information. Okay. All right. So let's get ready to get into what we are talking about. And this is for the ladies. Shout out to all of the women who responded to my post. And let me just, I forgot to bring up the picture, but I'm going to read it. And it says, ladies, if you could ask a man who hurt you one question, knowing you would get a truthful answer, what would it be and why? Put your answers in the chat, because I'm rewriting my book From Gigolo to Jesus. This time, I want to make sure that I'm hitting on the things that I know people need answered. Now, I hit on a lot of that the first time I wrote the book, not gonna lie. But this time I'm older, I'm more experienced, and I understand who I need to speak to. And those women who have been hurt by men like me, those are women I need to speak to. So if you're a woman who has dated some fool, I was a fool, who hurt you, lied to you, treated you badly, cheated on you, hurt you, put his hands on you. I never put my hands on a woman. Let me just say that. If you've gone through any of that, if you're dealing with the children from a man that has just walked away and said he don't have anything to do with that, I understand all of that. And you're who I want to talk to. Let me say that again. If you're a woman that's been cheated on, if you're a woman that's been left and the man gave you no answers why he ghosted you, if you're a woman that a man showed up acting one way and then turned around and was something totally different, if you're a man who's mistreated you sexually, if you're a man who's physically harmed you, if you're a man, if you have dealt with men, not if you're a man, if you're a woman who has dealt with men who claim to love you and then all of a sudden just stopped, I'm here for all of that. And the reason why is a good bulk of it, if not, I think pretty much all of it, except for putting my hands on a woman. And no, I've never sexually abused a woman, but I have hurt women emotionally, sexually. And I didn't understand it when I was younger. We're going to talk about a lot of that today, because I'm going to look at some of the questions as well as try to answer the question, why men, why be in a relationship if you're not going to be honest? I don't know if I can tackle all that today, but we may have to do this in a couple of parts. And what I would love to do, and ladies, you can put it in the chat. And shout out to my man JJ for coming through. Ladies, you can put it in the chat if you like. Let me know if you'd like to get on a Zoom call with me. I would love to get on a group Zoom call with all of the women that responded. And let's have this conversation. Just the women. No men right now. I'll let the brothers come later on. They can watch. They don't get to join in the actual conversation. But I would love to get on a call with all of you, at least 5, 6, 7, 10 of you, whatever, and have this conversation on why men cannot be honest in a relationship. I have my understandings. I have my thoughts. And as a crisis specialist, as a counselor, I deal with a lot of different people in a lot of different capacities. So it gives me some insight, but I would love to hear from the people who have been hurt. And I'm going to read some of the questions for you guys so y'all can actually hear what some of the women actually said. But before I get into that, I want to share this right here, right? Because I think it's something that we need to take a look at, right? And it is a man who doesn't really love you, right? Okay. A man who doesn't really a man who doesn't really love you and doesn't really want to be with you will. It's just a little list. I was looking for some things, and I always try to do some background research because I am not the end all, the be all to anything. I just know what I know. I know what I've experienced, and I know what I've learned. But I always like to go out and try to find information because I don't want you thinking I'm the guru, because I'm not. And I hate that term guru, by the way. It makes somebody seem like they're above everybody else. You might just be pretty good at what you do. I try to be. All right. But I want to go through this list real quick, and then I'm going to read you some of the questions that the women came up with on my Facebook page. And again, if you're watching, I'm Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, author, and educator. But today I have on my crisis specialist hat. Today I want to deal because I knew when I created the meme, I knew I was opening up the door to some pain. I knew I was creeping open Pandora's box, but I wasn't worried about it because this is my lane. This is the lane that I want to be in. I am here for that. You hear me say, bring me your pain. So I knew when I asked this question, I was opening up the door to a lot of pain because there's been a lot of women hurt. And men, I don't think you really understand. Let me say this again. Men, I don't think you really understand the damage that we, and I'm not excluding myself, we have done to our sisters. And it's very difficult for many of them, and many of them are in a very bad place because of us. And when they get to a good place, we then question why they act the way that they act, but yet we don't question our brothers the same way we question the women we're trying to get with. But I'll get with that in a second. Let's look at this list here. A man who doesn't really love you and doesn't really want to be with you will, one, give a little, then take away a lot. I'm going to read these, ladies, and if you're watching on replay, if you're watching live, and Brother JJ, I see that you're there in the chat, put a 1 if you agree with the list. Put a 1 if you agree. Put a 2 if you don't think that's true. If you think it, actually, let's go with that. Let's go with a T if you think it's true. Let's go with an F if you think it's false. So here we go. Good morning, Tamari. Men who don't really love you and doesn't really want to be with you will give a little and take away a lot. Is that true? Put a T in the chat. Come on, rock with me. Put a T in the chat if that is true. All right, Tamari said true. I have to agree. Number 2, they will drift in and out of your life on their accord and timetable. Again, I'm going to say true. I have done both of those. So I'm going to be very transparent. And I'm going to admit if I have been these things, I'm going to tell the truth. And have I seen some of my men that I hang out with do this? Yes. So I believe number 2 is true. All right. Moving on to number 3. Never, ever really inconvenience himself for you. I'm going to say false because it said never. All right. I'll say often they don't, but it says never, ever really inconvenience himself. I'm going to say that's false because some men do. Who still ain't no good, but some men will inconvenience themselves. And I'm going to tell you why. Some men will inconvenience themselves because they're going to try to get the coochie on the back end. So they're going to try to hold you emotionally hostage. They're going to say, hey, I helped you move. I did this. I was there for you. I need to get some because I helped you. So depending on the circumstances, I agree, Tamari. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. Number 4. So we got 2 truths and 1 false. And again, if yours is different, when you watch on replay, make sure you put hashtag replay. Put yours in the replay. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Number 4, they disappear for long intervals of time. Yep, I agree. That is true. And the reason why we do is because we have to cater to our other women, or we just get bored and want to go back to the lifestyle we had before we were with you. And most men who do not know how to convey that will just ghost you. They will just kind of disappear, and then they'll hit you with the BS. I was going through something. I was dealing with something. All right. And so, okay. And you will realize that. So that one is true too. So we're going to go with true. They will fight with you to be. Yes, we do. We'll start a fight on Thursday so we can go hump the side chick on Friday. That is very true, Tamari. I agree with you. All right. Number 5. Again, put a T if it's true, put an F if it's false. They will not respond to texts in a timely fashion at all. Very true. Sometimes I'm with the next chick. Sometimes I'm doing something I'm supposed to be. But sometimes I don't want to be bothered. And because I don't want to be bothered, we will turn around and we will turn around and start these arguments and close out the text messages and ignore calls. We will even lie and say our phone was dead and I didn't have my charger. But yet every time they're with you, their charger is always there and their phone is always in their hands. Something to consider. Pay attention. All right, here we go. That's true. I left my phone in the truck. There we go. All right, here we go. Cancel plans at the last minute. Yes. Let me tell you something about this one. This is and I don't want to say the word BITCH quality of some men. Some men will cancel at the last minute just to get you upset, just to start an argument, just so they can get out of the situation, and they do it to be petty. Some men will cancel plans at the last minute because they don't want to argue with you, because they know if they say they don't want to go, it's going to be a big argument. So they will wait until the last minute and cancel. You'll get very, 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 very upset. And then that gives them carte blanche to not be bothered with you. Yes, it is petty, but you got to understand that many of us men were not taught how to be stand-up men. So we do things suspectly, if that's even a word. We do things very suspect to get you to feel a certain way. Oh my goodness. So we have all true except for number 3. Okay, the last one is they will leave you questioning everything about yourself. Super duper true. We will even turn it around and say that it is you is the problem. We will make you the problem when it is actually us. I had to learn how to not do that. And I'm going to tell you something that is very difficult. It is very difficult. And I'm going to say to you, it's very difficult because many of us were never taught how to be stand-up men. Many of us have never seen quality relationships. And when you've never seen a quality relationship, you don't know what to do. And I know people gloss over that. I know people say to themselves, what? Well, why would you get into a relationship? Because men and women have needs. And when you have needs and when you really do enjoy people, we do. We enjoy each other's company. That doesn't mean that we know what goes into a quality relationship. Okay, and that's very, very, very important. All right, I want you to understand that. Because I got into a ton of relationships. And I've had sex, a ton. I'm not proud of that. It's what it was. It's how I was. And you just don't walk up and have sex with somebody. You got to engage them. And when you engage somebody with the idea of having sex, it wasn't always truthful in terms of, hey, I just want to have sex. So a lot of times I had to go through a whole act and go through a whole whatever just to have sex, knowing I was going to ghost them anyway. If the sex was okay, if it was real good, I might hang around for a while. But if it wasn't, I'm going to go about my business. And you get good at it. And when you get good at it, you try to create invites back. And I have found that when you can create the invites back, meaning that you can be pretty good at what you do, some women will override the foolishness that they see just to enjoy themselves. And many of us men know that. We use sex as a weapon. Very much so, just like women use sex as a weapon. But I'm speaking to the men right now. And I'll give you a perfect example of what that looks like, okay? When you watch the movie Baby Boy, right? Now, Jody and what's the name really cared, and I forget what her name is. And if you remember the character's name, Jody's girlfriend, put it in the chat for me to remind me. Jody thought sex was the way to get out of any problems that he had. Yvette, there we go. Yeah, I just thought about it, Yvette. So he used sex as a way to try to fix whatever was wrong. And a lot of us men, that's what we learn. Even when he put his hands on Yvette, his first reaction was not to care to her, he said he was sorry, but then he takes her to the bedroom and is about to try to perform oral. because his logic was, if I can make her feel good, she will forget about what I just did. No, they don't forget. They may place it on hold for a minute, but they ain't gonna forget. But unfortunately, baby boy was so on point because a lot of us, and again, he was raised by a single woman who was doing the best she could. And if you remember, I believe it was his brother was either killed or locked up. So it already lost a child. So it really does. It was a good representation of what you'll see in sometimes in an urban environment where a young man is coming up with a single mom. And it's not indicative of every situation. I don't want to brush everyone with a broad brush, but I can tell you that it is very frequent. And so a lot of us men do that. And we are not ready for the very relationships that we claim that we want. And you as women are stuck with, how do I know he's not telling the truth if he appears to be doing all the things that he's supposed to do? And I think the crazier part, the sad part is, many of us are good at starting relationships. Many of us men are real good at starting the relationship. We don't know how to finish. We don't know how to sustain, and we don't know how to finish. Let me just say that, okay? And I want you to pay attention that many of us, hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. I'll get back in a second. Many of us just don't know how to sustain. And often the reason why we don't know how to sustain, because we never saw it. We've never experienced it. We were never taught it. We talk about the lack of fathers in certain environments. Well, when you remove the male, the role model, the visual, what am I supposed to go on? What am I supposed to see? And if I don't see it, how am I now supposed to emulate it? And if I'm stuck emulating what's on television, well, there's no true representation on television. And when there is, it's flooded with a whole lot of other things. And then you have to think about the music, and then you have to think about everything else. So unfortunately, if it's not taught at home, the odds say you're not going to learn it until you've experienced it. Well, how many people do you have to hurt until you experience it? Again, I'll use myself as an example. I had to blow up the first marriage to be better at the second. And even in this marriage right here, this relationship that I have with Tiff, I've made some very bad mistakes. And I've had to own those. Now, the thing that got better for me was, not only did I have a woman that understood me, I wanted to get better. And I was willing to break myself down to build myself back up. And even then, you still have to tread lightly that you don't go back to certain behaviors. And you got to be honest with yourself first and fix you first before you can even try to fix somebody else. So let me just give you some of the questions that came up in the group. I just want to read some of the questions. I'm not going to try to answer all of them. I'm just going to try to read some of them that came up. Okay. So we had, shout out to Veronica. I see you in the inbox. I'll hit you in a little bit when I get off. Veronica said, why would you want a relationship if you were going to walk out and ghost me? And again, men, here's what I want you to do, because I'm not going to answer all of the questions, but I want the men to listen. And oh, I almost forgot. Like this, share this, tag 4 men. Actually, you can tag some women too. Tag 2 men, tag 2 women. 2 women that you think need to hear this, and 2 men you know need to hear this right now, okay? Like this right now. Share this right now. I want to see it shared. Come on, stop playing. And like this right now. I want to see the likes go up. Let's go. And I want to see you share this right now, all right? So stop playing. Share this with 2 women who you know have gone through what I'm talking about, and 2 men who you know need to hear this. Even if y'all are friends, even if y'all not that cool, but you know he might be here, because I want them to listen. All right, you did that. You like this. You shared this. You tagged the people. Okay, let's get back to this. So it looks like we're going to go a little past 10 o'clock this morning. I just want to read through the questions. So Veronica said, why would you want a relationship if you were going to walk out and ghost me? She also then followed up, I see many men, including, okay. Well, that was me. I'm reading my own thing. Her second question was, why say you want a relationship if you really just want the cookie? And some men will say whatever for the coochie. Elise Gabrielle, Lady E, says, I would ask, why wasn't I enough? And that is an offshoot. That question right there that Veronica and Elisa asked, that actually happens. I notice that a lot of times when I'm counseling, women will say, I don't understand, why wasn't I good enough for? And I stop and go, wait, it has nothing to do with you. If he wasn't honest about who he was, or he didn't come to the table with a full, clear understanding of what he wanted, you might not have ever been enough. Simply because if he's not clear, how can you be? And to Veronica's question, why men say they want a relationship when they all they want is the coochie? Because many of us, that's all we know. Is what we see. All right, let's go. I'm not gonna answer all these because I'll mess around, be here all day. I do plan on answering them in the group though, and if I haven't answered in the group, I will definitely come back. So Nissa said, why would you walk away from something you said you wanted? And you're going to start to see a reoccurring theme here with men. And this is the reason why I'm going to read through the questions. I want you to pay attention. Listen to what the women are saying and ask yourself, they didn't all date the same man, and they're all different ages, okay? So shout out to Nelly, Nelly Marissa, at my lowest, at my most vulnerable, both question marks. You thought it was cool? Why couldn't you just be honest? Great questions. Carla Gaskins, why would you hurt me when I loved you through everything? Nanette Buchanan, what happened to the vision and the goals we set? Keisha Green, she has two questions. Why did you pursue and engage in a relationship that you knew you weren't ready and or hadn't healed properly from childhood traumas? Why wasn't honesty an option instead of pain? Great questions. Actually, all of them are great questions. Sheila Lee says, why did you take my heart and walk all over it when all I did was love and give you all of me? Are you seeing the theme here? Are you seeing the reoccurring thing that us men have been and how we have been raised and how the same thing? Now, all these men don't know each other. They might, I don't know. Chef Danielle at Danielle Chef Moore says, why was you such a douche? You preached the I am a stand-up guy routine, but did the opposite when you thought I wasn't paying attention. Playing my intelligence was the ultimate betrayal. No woman likes to be played for stupid. And unfortunately, it's the only thing that many of us men know how to do. Cynthia Nelson says, why all the lies? Simply put, 4 words. Why all the lies? I feel you, Cynthia. And I think that's my aunt Cynthia, too. Leslie Ware Williams says, is it wrong to not want to know why? Yes, it hurts, but I already forgave. Then I already forgave them just like I forgave myself for my actions in the past. And I answered that one, and no, it is not wrong. And if you're strong enough to get past your previous pains, Leslie, shout out to you, love. And actually, I know everybody here personally, pretty much so. And I love the fact that she said she forgave the situation and herself. Sometimes the hardest thing is to look at ourselves and just go, okay, you're effed up, move on. It's tough. And that's where I come in as a counselor, because I have to try to get you there and help you out with what's going on. Okay, we have Michelle Green, who Michelle has a very, very difficult backstory. She's a domestic abuse survivor, and she was hurt badly by a man that she loved. And her question was, why did I deserve to be hit and punished by you when all I wanted to do is love you and be loved? Wow. And then Veronica came back again, and Veronica says, you knew your finances weren't where you wanted them to be before getting a relationship with me. So why get in a relationship just to break up with me using your finances as an excuse? I'm not asking for your money. Veronica also came back and said, many of us think we have answers to our finances. Many of us think we have answers to, oh, that was me responding. I'm sorry. She came back and said, you knew your ass felt inadequate before getting in a relationship. So why be in it only to use that as an excuse to end things? Wow. Ioka Boyce, Nikki Supreme Boyce. She said, why didn't you stick around when you got me in trouble? Life could have been completely different for me. Wow. Great question. Great question. And shout out to Tamari, who said, why the need to continue to hurt me when all I did was try to love you past your pain, and so that way you could see you are loved even if you felt you never were? Why knowing the pain you endured would you want to do the same to me? And I think I responded to pretty much everybody. But if you listen to those questions, you see a reoccurring theme. Men who show up portray themselves to be one way and then become something different. Well, here's what I want you to understand. They were never something different. They were that ahead of time. Now, when it shows its head, if it shows its head, that's the problem. But I also want to say this too, right? And what we have to look at is we also have to make sure that our vetting process, you try to weed out the best you can, as many as you can. Now, here's the thing. When we're talking love, and this is what I want men to understand, all of these men, when you listen to what all of these women are saying, I became vulnerable and you didn't remain who you claimed to be. And the question becomes, why would you hurt me when I was trying to love you? And the reason why that's difficult is because I can argue that a lot of these men may not have known what love is. Actually, I know that a lot of men didn't know it or don't know what love is. A lot of women don't know what love is. And without sitting down and going through, unless I'm able to sit down and have a session with you where I can go through everything together with you, I don't know what role you played in it. Here's one thing I have come to know in the couple of years now that I've been doing this professionally. Actually, I've been counseling for years. But the reason why I decided to move into business is because not only do I know people need help, it is because we're not taking the time to really go through a formal dating process. Now, I'm not saying all of you didn't. Don't come at me and go, how you know? Nah, I'm speaking in general. In general, many men and women don't take enough time to get to know someone on a deeper level before turning it into a relationship where now we're talking love. Sometimes we will lower down the love bar when actually the love bar should remain high and everything else should work towards that. And it's very important. And the reason why I say that is because you have to have, and this is just my own suggestion. Take it for all it's worth. I think the minimum somebody should date before they even start talking about love is a year. I think you should date a year before you start to move things into a higher space, because over a year you will see anniversaries, birthdays, you will see how they are in different seasons, you will see how they are during different sports seasons, you will see how it is when it's hot outside, when it's cold outside. We joke about winter being cuffing season, where now folks want to move to the indoors and now they want to cuff. I was the exact opposite. I wanted to cuff in the summertime and I could move around freely in the wintertime because most people weren't out, but I was out to do dirt to begin with. That was just me. So you need to take a good year and you should be clear on what you want. And you should be clear on what you will and will not accept and put that on the table early. And y'all two work on getting to know each other. Because anything short of that opens up the door. Now, it doesn't mean that after doing all of that, you won't get hurt. No, people are people. But we want to try to clear the table and build the foundation the best we can. I am telling you because I do couples counseling as well. I love working with women. I do, but I do couples counseling as well. And one of the things that I realized is that sometimes things started off bad and never got better. And sometimes they started off real good. And when it started to decline, nobody put the brakes on until now they're ready to kill each other. And that's where I come in. So, like I said, what I think I may do is I may set up a night. I'll do a little research and see what night works for everybody. I would love to get on a Zoom call just to hear and have direct conversations, because as you notice, all these women have similar situations with men, which means when the questions are being asked in group form, we have an opportunity to answer one question and help multiple people. So if getting on a Zoom call is something that you are interested in, put Zoom in the chat. All right. If you're watching me right now, you're watching on replay, put Zoom Hashtag Zoom in the chat, and I'll start to do my little impromptu research. I might even hit a couple of people up privately and ask would they be willing to come on and have a conversation with me once I can figure out which dates I'm free. Okay. And because there's some things, and we may allow people to watch. Actually, I'm going to allow people to watch, but there'll be no men on the live call. They can watch from the group and they can leave their responses, but they will not be in the group. It'll just be me and all the women. Lucky me. So you can bring all your hate to the table. I'm built for it. Let's go. And you can ask me the questions directly, and we can have this conversation with other women there, because I also would like to have the women feed off of each other too, to be able to realize that you're not alone in what happened to you. All right. So it's not about me. It's about bringing groups of women together where when you talk about what happened to you, another woman can say, yep, I had the same thing happen to me. And then we figure out what that looks like in terms of the fix. So wherever you're watching, because I'm right now, I'm multicasting on seven platforms. So whichever platform you're watching on right now, put Zoom in the chat. All right. Hashtag Zoom or Zoom, however one, it doesn't make a difference. Put Zoom in the chat. So when I go back to look through the different sites where I'm recording, put Zoom in, because that way I may reach out to you privately and say, hey, are you willing to come on the Zoom call with me and we have this conversation? Okay. All right. Well, guys, listen, we're going to talk about this some more tomorrow. I honestly believe that this is something that is an ongoing conversation for me. It really is. Because this is what I do, and this is what I want to do. Like, honestly, let me just be fully transparent. Because of the life that I have lived, this is why I'm rewriting my book, From Gigolo to Jesus. My book will be the door opener, because I am creating a private group where we can work on the things that we need to improve personally and spiritually. I'm also creating a course where over a 6 to 8 week period, just like in school, we're going to get together and literally work on the things that we need to do to make ourselves better in whatever area, personally or spiritually. So I didn't do those things when I wrote my book the first time. I just was happy with writing a book, I'll be honest. This time, I want to use all of the skills that God gave me. I want to teach. I want to heal. I want to counsel, everything. And I'm going to create all of that so you can come and then know that it's going to be safe. Because if you're coming to a private group, it will be safe. There will be no attacks tolerated, because the goal is to try to offer a home base for healing. And my book is going to be the door opener. I am pouring this into my new book. And the book drops 2022. I'm not releasing it earlier. I thought about it. Oh, maybe I can rush it out for Christmas. No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not being swayed by any of the outside things. I'm taking my time. I'm rewriting every chapter, and I'm making sure what was going on at that time in my life is clear, because I know somebody else is going through it as well. And I really do want to help. And I pray that these talks in the morning when I come on are helping. And I hope that it's solving some questions. But if it's not, and you need to speak to me directly, because I don't know who this is for, and I don't know who's watching. I know Tamari's on. I know JJ was on. But if you need to speak to me, reach out. Let's get on a call. Let's get on a private call. And if you need more, then I'm here. This is what I do. You don't have to worry about going and finding a counselor. You can speak to me, and you can actually sit in your home and have this conversation, because I am not messing with this virus. I'm sitting there now and had a little cough and was like, and I'm like, I'm not playing. And that's why I'm vaccinated. I ain't taking no chances. So I want you, and another reason why I want you to talk to me from your home is I want you comfortable, because we're going to be dealing with some subjects that may be uncomfortable for you. So I need you as physically comfortable as possible so we can climb into the emotional situation, and we can climb into the spiritual situation and have that talk. All right. All right, guys. So listen, again, I want to say thank you. It's 10 minutes after the time that I'm supposed to be up. It's 40 minutes. I've been on for 40 minutes. I try to keep it around 30. All right. So I want to say thank you. Leave me your thoughts in the chat. Tell me what you think. Again, if you're interested in jumping on the group Zoom with me, put Zoom. I will come back to check and I'll reach out and we'll set something up. Okay. Tamari, thank you. JJ, thank you. I appreciate you. Make sure that you like and share this, and anybody else that is watching, because that's the only ones that I can see right now. But wherever you're watching me from, if you're seeing this, I thank you. If you've commented, I thank you. If you've liked this, thank you. If you have shared this, thank you. And if you have tagged 4 people, 2 men, 2 women who need to hear this, thank you. I appreciate you. All right, Leela, take me out of here. Let's go. Together, I belong to you, you belong to me. Who will last forever? Take me, take me, take me, all of me, however you want me. Take me. Whatever you want, babe. I'm willing to give you all of me. Have a good day, guys. God bless. Take me.